Welcome back to the Beach Bum Bookworm. I am Tiffany. I'm so glad y'all found me again today. My channel's all about coastal mysteries and romance books, and today I'm here with just that, my July romance wrap-up. I read quite a few romances in July. I'm all about the amore. Let's just get right into it. We're talking July romance reads in 3, 2, 1, go! As always, don't forget to hit the like, subscription, notification bell. All three of those help us out tremendously in the algorithm. They mean a lot. Support is absolutely free. It costs nothing to hit any of those buttons, but it means a great deal to us. So thank you so much for the support. I'm having the best time. Okay, before I get into these, I'm obviously going to give you my rating, and also where I see the spice at. So a couple things I want to say. One, always check trigger warnings in any book that you read that I talk about. I'm not going to be responsible for somebody else's trigger warnings because triggers are very, very personal. I mean, there are certain things that we can all say, oh, hey, just so you're aware, this has X, Y, and Z in it. But there are other things that triggers could be based upon something very specific and a personal experience to them. And I don't know what those are. So please check everything for yourself. Okay. And 2, the spice scale. I have a spice scale. I'm going to put it up right here. It's the Spice Girls. This is courtesy of my friend Sonia at Sonia with an I. So go check her out and subscribe to her. But spice is very subjective. Even the way we rate spice is very subjective. What I consider spicy, somebody else might not, vice versa. But also even in the way we rate spice. There's some people that rate spice because there are a quantity of scenes. That's not how I rate my spice. There could be a quantity of scenes, but it be very much a open door, but not a lot of description, stuff like that. I'm still going to probably rate it pretty low. There could be something with only 1, 2, a couple scenes throughout the book, but they are very descriptive and very intimate and all those things. I'm going to rate that higher because that's how I rate my spice. So just so we're aware. And let's get right into these. The first one that I read was on the plus side. This is by Jenny L. Howe. And I gave this 3 cups of coffee, and I don't remember the spice in this. So because I don't remember the spice in this, I always go with like the second. So maybe posh, something like that, just to be on the safe side. But I don't remember there being a lot of spice in this. Okay, so this features Ember Leigh, and what was his name? He was the camera guy. Logan. Okay, so Ember Leigh was picked to be on this like What Not to Wear, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy reality show for plus size people. And she was chosen. She doesn't know who nominated her or whatever. And so this reality show kind of follows her, and not only like a transformation of her clothes and like makeover stuff, but also maybe anything that she is not pursuing in her life that she wants to. They really encourage her to kind of grow in that aspect as well. Well, along the way, the camera guy, Logan, and her clearly have some sparks. So that continues to grow, and that is the romance in this. I give this 3 cups of coffee. It was okay. I enjoyed it. The one thing that I'll say about the plus size romance, I like that we get that representation. I think that everybody deserves representation. I like to see that there's more disability rep and more LGBTQ plus and plus size people and just the gamut of things. But sometimes the way things are done, I feel like it's more in a fetish way than a representation way. As an example, and I'm not specifically talking about this book, but this book does it. I don't think just because somebody is plus size and has that representation and we want to see that in a book, that it needs to be in the title. Because then it's just like, is that all there is to it? Like, look, I wrote something about a plus size character so that they can feel like they can have the relationship. Why does that have to be the center of things? And what I'm saying is the book is called On the Plus Side. Clearly they're referring to that, but like, just to take this one out of it, because it's not specifically about this one. Books are like, the curvy girl gets the quarterback. Why does that need to be in the title as like that defines her? To me, you're making it a fetish. Like, it's not the only thing about this young woman. Like, why does that have to be the center of attention if it's not just more representation than a fetish? Because in response to that, I would say what I'm saying is you don't see skinny girl gets the quarterback when it's just a non-plus size person, right? You don't see that worded that way. I mean, if it's mentioned in the description, but it doesn't need to be like the defining thing about this person, because otherwise it doesn't feel to me like representation in the way that I want to see it. It just feels like we're going to throw you a bone, and I don't know. I don't care for it. I'm not specifically talking about this book. I want to make that very clear. Not specifically this book. I'm just talking about the idea of representation for this group of people. Next up, I read Kane. This is the 8th book in the Arizona Vengeance hockey romance series by Sawyer Bennett. I gave this 4 cups of coffee. On the spice scale, I would say maybe like sporty spice. These books tend to be a little more spicy. So this features Kane and Molly, and they have been best friends since they were young. And Kane has always kind of had a thing for Molly, and Molly kind of has never been aware of it. She's definitely attracted to him, but she's never thought it was anything more than just like, I think that my male friend is also good looking. However, now they're a little bit older, and Molly has been dating this guy, and she travels and does like vlogging for a living, which is amazing. And she breaks up with a boyfriend, and it goes really bad. He's basically stalking her, and then a really bad incident happens, and she kind of flees to Kane, and he of course reacts in the way that any friend would react, but also he's really into her. So there's that. And so while she is staying with Kane after this incident and kind of like taking some time away from traveling and making sure that she has all of the safety precautions in place for going back out on the road with, as far as like this ex-boyfriend, her and Kane get closer and closer, and it goes from there. Really, really loved it. I thought it was a good installment in this series. Next up, I read Crushing on My Billionaire Best Friend. This is by Jolie Day. I gave this 3 cups of coffee. I probably gave it like 2.5, rounded up to 3. It's probably maybe posh spice, maybe like in between posh and sporty. I thought this was okay. Like I said, I gave it 2.5. I didn't really feel a great connection between these characters. It is the story of Oliver and Lainey, and they are, again, best friends. But neither of them like are really pining for the other necessarily. But Lainey, or is Lainey pining for him? Maybe she is in love with him. I don't remember for sure. I read too many romances. But I will say that they are best friends. And what happens is Lainey's apartment catches on fire, and they have to like vacate the building. And so she calls him and she's like, "Can I stay with you?" And he literally answers. He's just kind of, I did not like the main character. For example, she calls him and she's trying to tell him that there's been a fire in the apartment, and she stay with him? And he does say, of course, you can, but he doesn't even really know what he's answering, because he answered while he was in a sexual act with a woman, answers the phone. and I never felt like he recovered. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of him. I thought Lainey deserved better, so I didn't feel the connection between them. It was an okay read. Next up, I read Burning for Her. This is the third book in Burning for the Bravest romance series by Kaye Kennedy. This has been my least favorite in the series. I mean, I gave it 3 stars, so I still enjoyed it. This is Ryan and Zoe, I'm not sure. And Zoe is an emergency room nurse, and Ryan is a firefighter. The one of the people in each of the books are firefighters, and a building collapses on Ryan during a fire, and he has some burns, and so he is in the burn unit of the hospital, and this emergency nurse Zoe is helping take care of him. And I did enjoy it. I liked both the characters, but there were times where I was like, this would never happen. And it just like pulled me out of the story. Like a day after his like pretty severe burns, which, you know, I don't know. He was like trying to like sit up and grab her and kiss her and stuff like his nurse. I don't know. There were just points in the book where I was like, and I should be able to suspend disbelief, but I don't very well, so maybe there's that. I did enjoy it overall, and I really like this series. I like fireman romances, so I will continue with this series. This just wasn't my favorite in the series. Next up, I read Insatiable. This is the third book in the Cloverly Farms romance series by Melanie Harlow. I gave this 3 cups of coffee. This is... oh my gosh, I just forgot their names. Holy moly. Meg and what is his name? Noah. This is Meg and Noah. And Meg is one of the sisters in this series, and she is home for another sister's wedding. This is interesting because it's got not only the friends to lovers trope, but kind of like second chance rolled into one. And the main male character, Noah, he is now the sheriff in town, and she is, like I said, just home for her sister's wedding, and things kind of progress from there and kind of pick up. I gave it 3 cups of coffee. I'll definitely will continue this series. It was an average read for me. Next up, I read Fool Me Once. This is the third book in the New England Bay Sharks hockey romance series by Hannah Gray. I gave this 3 cups of coffee. I feel like I'm harder on my romances than I am in my other reads. This series is pretty spicy. I would definitely say like sporty 0.5 towards ginger. I feel like these are kind of on the spicier end of the scale. Again, not tipping the scale, but heavier. So I read the first one of this series and it knocked it out of the park for me. And then since then, I've enjoyed the other ones, but not as much as the first one. This is Sawyer. Let me not lie to you. I can never remember their names. Smith and Gemma. And Gemma is best friends with Smith's sister, Sailor. And they kind of grow up kind of all around each other. But when they get to be teenagers, Gemma and Smith start dating. And then Gemma is kind of set to go to an Ivy League school, very smart. And Smith is definitely destined for the NHL, or at least to play like some major hockey in college. And Gemma's dad comes up to Smith and says, hey, I don't want you to take away my daughter's chances of going to this Ivy League school, because she will follow you if your relationship continues. So I'd like to see you cut it off. And then basically like threatens him, like not like I would like to see you threaten it off, like you're going to do so. And so Smith does. And so they are apart for many years. And then Gemma is coming back into town because I don't remember if she got married or if it was a fiance, but he was abusive. So trigger warnings for that, but check other trigger warnings. And Smith knows right away that the lie that they are telling about the bruises is just that. It is a lie. And so he kind of catches on quick that maybe there was something going on in her personal life that was not on the up and up. And immediately he, of course, kind of goes into protector mode and wants to take care of her and all those things. So this is a second chance. And like I said, I gave it 3 cups of coffee. I enjoyed it. Definitely will continue this series. Next up, I read The Double Play. This is the 4th book in the More Than a Game romance series by Annah Conwell. I gave this 3 cups of coffee. I think that these are, I don't want to say baby spice because there might be something, but they're very, very low spice. But there's been a couple of these in this series I have rated 5 stars and that were amazing. This one was fun. I gave it 3 cups. I definitely will continue this series. This is, so More Than a Game is a really cool series because it's all sports, but it's a different sport each book. And so there's been hockey, golf. One of the main characters has played hockey, golf. There was football, and now we're at baseball. But all of the friends are the professional players. Like the found family of this series is the guys have all been friends for years, and they're each in their, professions, but they are also gamers. And so they always plan on like scheduling like time when they can like game together, and then they'll wear headphones and you get like kind of pieces of their life through that and banter between them. And it's really, really fun. I really enjoy that aspect of it. And this is Emmett and what was her name? Hazel. And I remember Hazel. I never remember names, but I remembered Hazel because I love the name Hazel. Okay, so this is Emmett and Hazel, and this is a nanny single dad. And that's not my favorite trope, but it is very wildly popular right now. I don't dislike it, but it's not something I necessarily gravitate towards. But we've seen that like Emmett is kind of the like serious one of the bunch in terms of the guys that we know in the gamer chat. He's very focused on baseball, which is his career, and his daughter, June. And so his mom says, hey, your dad and I are going on a trip. We can't watch June anymore. You need to hire a nanny. And he's like, what? And partly because he, doesn't want to bring someone in and look and everything, but he also wants his daughter taken care of, and he knows that her grandparents are safe and all those things. But his mom says, I'm going to find you the perfect nanny. And I think maybe he had voiced like his concerns of not having time to really like weed through applicants in the way that he would want to as somebody that's going to be taking care of his child. And so his mom's like, well, I do have the time. I can help. And she picks the perfect nanny, not only like for the perfect person to take care of June, but maybe for the perfect person for Emmett. You get what I'm saying? And it goes from there. It was really, really cute. This whole series has been really cute. I definitely will continue. Next up, I read Totally Pucked. This is the 1st book in the Hartford Minotaurs hockey romance series by Paris Wynters. I gave this 3 cups of coffee. I think this was heavier on the spice, maybe like in between like sporty and scary, like a 3.5-ish, something like that. I'd rather go a little heavier than what I think than the other way of things. So this features Wyatt and what is her name? Nora. And Nora is a single mom. Her son plays hockey, and Wyatt is in the NHL, but is struggling. And he's made to coach a youth hockey league. Well, before all that kind of happens, he had this like one night stand that kind of blew his mind sort of thing. And so the coach, through something else that's happened on the ice, because he's one that like kind of loses his temper on the ice and fights and whatnot, and his coach is like, you're getting this image, we need you to kind of buffer that image. And this is where the coaching the youth team comes in. So he reports to coaching this youth team, and lo and behold, he sees Nora again, which is his one night stand, and also one of the kids' moms. And so They reconnect through that, and they do have great chemistry. I don't remember why I gave it 3 stars. I still really enjoyed it, and I definitely will continue this series. Next up, I read Good Pucking Luck. I read a lot of hockey romances this month. I mean, we know how I feel about hockey, but I read a lot of hockey romances. This is the first book in the Jilted Exes Club by Riley Hart. I gave this 4 cups of coffee. I probably gave it like 4.5 cups of coffee. I really liked this one. This was an romance. It is Hayes and Rylan. Hayes and Rylan. And this is definitely on the spicier side. Again, I would go in between like posh and scary, sporty and scary, 3.5. And I always get where I put, so baby spice is obviously the 1 on the scale. And then 2 and 3, I always get mixed up because ginger is 4 and scary is like, whoa, right? We're at the tipping point. And then 2 and 3 is where I always get mixed up. I'm like, did I put sporty at 2 or did I put posh at 2? Or vice versa. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm going to say like 3.5. So ginger is 4. So in between, I think I've been saying this wrong the whole time, but in between sporty, who I think I put at number 3, and ginger. Okay. So, was it Hayes is not a hockey fan. He was dating a guy, and the guy that he was dating was a hockey fan, and the guy buys them tickets, and they've been dating, I don't remember how long, but they had been dating for a little bit of time, and Hayes decides he's going to propose to this guy. And when he proposes and they're at the stadium in front of everybody, the guy freaks out. Well, it turns out that the guy was dating like a ton of men, which is actually what the Jilted Exes Club is. The series is going to be all those men getting a happily ever after, which I think is great. But anyways, so Hayes is obviously clearly very embarrassed, and it was very public. So can you imagine how, that would go over? And so his family owns like, I don't remember if it's restaurants or clubs or like, I don't remember what it is. He goes into this restaurant, but I think it's at a hotel, and I think Hayes's family owns the chain of hotels. And Hayes is bartending at this restaurant in the hotel. And Rylan walks in, and Hayes is like, I need to have just some fun. I've never really dated. I've never really had much experience. I started dating this guy, and then I got jilted by him, but I've really had not like really any experience. And Rylan immediately is attracted to him. Hayes is attracted to Rylan until they have this one encounter at the restaurant, but Hayes is like, that's all it can be. And then they end up continually to run into each other. And then they decide, because our hockey player Rylan is superstitious, like most hockey players are, and feels like after his encounters with Hayes, he's had the best games of his life. So he wants to continue this. And he's like, hey, if you continue to have whatever it is that we have going on through the hockey season, then that would really help me out. And I don't remember what's in it for Hayes besides, I guess he gets to see Rylan, but I think there's something else, but I just don't remember. And so they strike up that deal, and I really loved it. I think I gave it 4.5 cups of coffee. It was very, very good. I really liked them together. I liked their banter. I really enjoyed this one, and I'm really excited for the other books in the series. Next up, I read Broken Bodyguard. This is I think it's part of a series, but it's not listed that way on Goodreads, but I almost am sure it is. Let me see. Yes, it is the Nightingales of Wall Street series by Ember Leigh. And I gave this 3 cups of coffee. This is a bodyguard romance. And they had kind of met and had instant chemistry. And then you find out a little bit later that the female character, so it is Troy and I think it's Maddie. She needs protection from an ex, and her ex is kind of escalating in behaviors, and that is where Troy comes in, and they immediately kind of start a relationship. The thing with this one that I gave it 3 cups of coffee, I did enjoy it, but it was very insta-lusty, and I'm just not a big fan of insta-lust, but I really enjoyed Bodyguard romances, so I did have a good time, and will read number 2. Next up, I read Cash. This is the first book in the Lucky River Ranch series by Jessica Peterson. I love these covers. I gave this one 3 cups of coffee. I will continue it. It might have been like in between 2 and 3 on a spice scale, I feel like, if I remember correctly. So maybe in between like sporty and posh, or posh and sporty, whichever way that goes. And I did enjoy it, but it wasn't my favorite cowboy romance. So this is Molly, and I think I just said it, and Cash, of course. And Cash has been a ranch hand, or like foreman, on Molly's father's ranch for years. And Molly and her father were estranged. A lot of that was due to a divorce between her parents and her staying with her mom and kind of hearing, you know, things that may or may not have been true. But anyways, it kind of clouded her relationship with her dad. And now her dad has passed, and he has left her the ranch with some stipulations. However, he had told Cash, who again has worked there forever, that he felt like Cash deserved the ranch. So Cash is very resentful of Molly, who's like this city slicker. And not only is she a city slicker coming on the ranch, but also he loved her father. He really felt like had a close relationship with her father. And again, she had been estranged from him. So he's like, you don't even deserve it. You didn't come around ever, that sort of thing. On top of the fact that she knows nothing about ranching. So as part of the will stipulation for her to inherit the money and ranch and all of her father's assets, she has to live on the ranch. I think it's for an entire year, if I remember correctly. But anyways, in that time, her and Cash kind of break down some barriers and communicate and really start seeing a different side of each other, and end up, of course, falling in love. I enjoyed it. Definitely will continue on with this series, and I gave this one 3 cups of coffee. Next up, I read the first book in the Hello series by Kelsie Hoss. Hello, Single Dad. This I gave 4 cups of coffee to. I really enjoyed this one. This is Cohen, and what is her name? She is a guidance counselor, and Birdie. And okay, so Birdie is a guidance counselor, and she was in a relationship. She thought she was going to get proposed to. It turns out the guy breaks up with her, which was probably the best thing to happen to her. But anyways, but she is devastated in that moment. And her best friend talks her into going out, and she meets Cohen. And it's kind of this one-night stand. And turns out he has a son. He's a single dad, and he has a son at the high school where Birdie is a counselor. And they had the one-night stand, but then they also, he kind of never wanted it as a one-night stand. She did. And so they kind of like talk and are seeing each other, and they still have no idea that she is a guidance counselor at his school. Well, when they find that out, of course, there's complications and conflict because of rules about, you know, dating student parents and stuff like that. And all of that conflict kind of comes to a head. Really enjoyed this one. Definitely will continue. I've actually already read number 2, but I gave this one 4 cups of coffee, and I don't remember the spice. So when I don't remember the spice, it either was either very little or closed door, because I usually remember when something's really spicy. So I would say maybe like posh, sporty, somewhere in there. I would rather go a little heavier, not say baby, unless I'm sure. So you get what I'm saying. Next up, I read number 2 in the Nashville Spicy romance series. It's called Wrenched. This is by Casey Morales. I gave this 4 cups of coffee. I really enjoyed this one. It is a MM. I think the whole series is MM. Can't swear to that, but book 1 was as well. And this is actually Sam from book 1, who is a mechanic, and we met him in that first book. And then Miguel, who we met in this book. And Miguel is a cop, and there is an investigation going on of a homicide. And the cops bring this car to Sam's shop and ask him to look at the car. And that is Miguel and his first introduction, and things go from there. This is very spicy, so just know that. Book 1 was very spicy. I mean, the series is called Nashville Spicy, so I think you should get the hint. But I would say maybe like in between ginger and sporty. It was definitely on the spicier side. I gave it 4 cups of coffee. I really enjoyed Sam and Miguel, and I loved the found family in this. There's an older woman that is in this series that is just such a great like maternal figure for the 2 men. And Sam has a really good friend at the auto body shop that just was cracking me up the entire time. There's a lot of banter, a lot of found family. Really, really enjoyed this one. Next up, I read number 2 in the Hello series that I was talking about before. This is by Kelsie Hoss, and it is Hello, Fake Boyfriend. I gave this one 3 cups of coffee. I did not like it as much as the first one. I definitely will continue the series because I somehow read like number 4 or 5 to begin with, and I did enjoy that one. And then, of course, I enjoyed number 1 that I just told you about. And this one was an average read. I enjoyed it, just not as much as the others. So this is Mara, who we met in the first book. She is the best friend of Birdie from book 1. And Jonas, who is kind of just in their friend group. So Mara is a romance author, and she basically says on TV that she doesn't believe in love. And so all of these people are just devastated. Her readers, people are dropping contracts. She had like a contract for one of her books to be made into a movie. People are like, how can a romance author not believe in love and all this stuff and everything? So she decides she's going to get this fake boyfriend to kind of prove that, or kind of be like, oh no, that's not what I meant. I have a boyfriend. I was just nervous, blah, blah, blah. And in walks Jonas. He's, like I said, in their friend group. He's an accountant. She's like, oh gosh, he's so stuffy. I would never date an accountant, blah, 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 blah. Well, clearly they ended up feeling differently about each other. I don't know that I ever really felt the chemistry, and I really disliked the female character in this one. I don't know that I ever felt like she was ready for a commitment to anybody, which is fine. The reason that I don't like someone in that moment is if they commit and they know that they have no interest in doing so or don't plan on ever being committed. That's where my problem lies. And I don't know that I was convinced that Mara was really ready for that relationship with Jonas, and Jonas was such a good guy. Gave it 3 cups of coffee. We'll continue it. And we'll definitely continue the series is what I meant to say. And this just happened to be the way it fell. But the next one and last is my only 5-star romance read for the month, which is crazy. I must rate my romances so hard. Oh my gosh, I love this one. The Arrogant One, right here. This is by Marnie Mann. It is the first book in the Weston Group romance series. Now, the Weston Group is kind of a spinoff to the Dalton Brothers, if you read that series, which I did and loved. So this is now a different group, the Westons, and it's a family that the siblings all own together, restaurants and like dance club, nightclub type of things. And so they're all millionaires, billionaires, and they all have different high levels in, the Weston Group as far as the corporation for the restaurants and clubs. And this is the relationship between, what are their names? Hart and Sadie. So Hart is, I don't know what his position is within the corporation, but he is sent to this steakhouse that's a rival steakhouse to his family's restaurant. And they're like, you need to get all the details. Their reviews are just incredible. We got to figure out what they're doing. And so he goes, but before he kind of gets into his meal, he meets Sadie, and he decides that he just can't do anything but leave with Sadie. So he does. Well, Sadie is a food critic, but like one of those that's in secret. Like she writes for a magazine. Nobody really knows who the writer is, sort of thing. And so that can pose to be, a lot of conflict when she's, evaluating restaurants that he owns if they really get into a relationship, which of course they do because this is a romance book. Oh my gosh, was this good. The banter, this is really spicy. This is definitely probably the spiciest book I read this month. I would definitely say in between Ginger or at least at Ginger. But I love the banter between the family. I can't wait to see more of the family's romances. There's something about Marnie Mann's writing that just works for me. This was so good. I highly recommend. That was my romances for the month of July. What were your romances? What stood out to you? What were your favorites? Do you have any that you want to recommend me? Give me a big thumbs up for this video. And until next time, may all your future reads be 5 stars. Bye, everybody.